Led by a lifelong interest in healing, Dr. Linda Salvin pursued an advanced degree in epidemiology. Then, after dramatic near-death experiences, Dr. Linda saw the other side and returned with gifts of insight, visions, and revealed wisdom. Now those gifts are ongoing, and she's here to share them with you. Get ready to be amazed. It's time for Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions podcast with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, offering up her always fascinating blend of psychic psychology, clairvoyant insights, and expert guests and alternative healing methods. So pull up a chair and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am Dr. Linda Salvin, your psychic healer medium, and your host of Psychic Solutions podcast every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right here on the network. And you can find me at Dr. Linda Radio. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and 100 other platforms throughout the universe of the internet. And I am available for private consultations by going to lindasalvin.com. I don't want to waste time. I have a very important guest today that we don't have enough time to even cover everything I want to cover. We're going to talk about quality, compassion, acceptance, and the anti-Semitism that's going on out there. I am a Jew, and I never deny it on this show. And I am angry, as we heard yesterday. I took some time and talked about the campus unrest and what's going on without the balance and harmony, and what's going on in people's lives, and what's happening all over again. Like my grandmother's family was all killed in the camps in the 40s, and we're going through all this crap again. But I'm bringing on David Levy. David is a music producer. He's involved in the entertainment industry with music production and movies and songs, and he's extremely talented. But he also has a family of history from Egypt and Israel. And without going into more detail, he'll do it himself. I want you to understand that he's created a coalition called the Chosen Coalition, and it's all to fight anti-Semitism. We don't need this in 2024. We went through it. Why do we have to go through it again? And what's going on the campuses? And then we know it's been paid for. Everybody all of a sudden got a pup tap? No, excuse me. Let's bring on David. Let him tell the story. And you're going to hear some interesting. Hey, David, welcome to my show. It's so good to have you here. I'm glad you took some time out of your busy, busy schedule to do this.
Thank you so much for having me, Linda. I appreciate it.
It's an honor because you've got so much going on, and I'm following you. You're tagging me, and I'm posting. Take a moment to give some of the background, especially if your dad coming from Egypt. Give us a little history, and then let's go into the coalition and what we're going through with Fight for Peace and everything you're doing.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So my name is David Levy. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, born in 1987. So I've seen kind of, the end of an era. When I grew up, it was kind of a little bit before the time of cell phones, and, we still played in the backyard and went to the park and rode our bicycles. My family history is pretty crazy. My father was born in 1954 in Egypt, in Cairo, and in 1953 in Egypt. In Cairo in 1957, they exiled the Jews, and his family was forced to leave, after many generations of having lived in Egypt. They went to Israel. My father ended up fighting in the Yom Kippur War. He was a tankist and also an intelligence officer. And, and then he came here to the States to kind of find a better life and build a future, where he eventually, he met my mother and they had me. My mother's side of the family were Ashkenazic Jews from Romania and Hungary. My grandmother survived Auschwitz. She was shot 18 times on her left side in an execution style, attempted execution. She turned around to protect her younger sister from getting shot, and that's why she got hit on the left side. So her sister ended up surviving and carrying her through the snow to a hospital in Russia. I don't know exactly where they were when this all happened, but, she ends up in a hospital in Russia, and that's where she met my grandfather, who would also survive the camps. And my grandfather had said, what's a pretty woman like you doing all alone? And they ended up getting married right then and there on the spot. Um,
You're so
but
lucky. Let me interject
sure.
here, because I'm born the same year your father is, so I'm old enough to be your mom. And then that's what I love about the millennials. I have all these younger people in my world that I just get along with. Age means nothing with the soul connection. But my grandmother, my grandfather was in the States already, went back to Poland to get her in Rodham, and brought her back. And she had lost 11 brothers, sisters, and I don't know, 20 cousins, and their parents were all killed in the camps. You're lucky that you had survivors. So I'm on the other side, but we're all in this same horrible, horrifying, it can't be happening again feeling. So even
No,
though you
it can't.
have your story and I've
It
got
can't.
my story, but we all have the pain and the horror, and we're just people. We're Jews, okay, but there's blacks and Christians and Hindus and Buddhas, and I mean all this unrest. Go ahead, you're doing great, but I just had to let you know, and the audience know, I get it because I know my history.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us have generational trauma from what happened to our families overseas, um, and how they were treated so inhumanely, literally gassed in
Okay.
chambers and
Yeah.
executed. So my mother, she was born in Israel a year after, actually on the Israeli Independence Day, 1 year after the establishment of the state. So she really got to see how Israel formed as a country. And my views of Israel really come from the heart, from a loving place. It's such a wonderful place to visit. I grew up going there. My parents shipped me off to summer camp every summer from the age of 5 on to go to Israel to be with my family
Wow.
there and go to summer camp in Israel. I had wonderful experiences with Jewish people, Arab people, Christian people.
Exactly.
Um,
People.
Particularly, I remember an experience where we were invited into the Bedouin camps, like their tent city, you could call it, and we were on camels riding through the desert that day as kids. I couldn't have been older than 10 years old, and they brought us in and wash your feet after you're in the desert for that long, and then you go into the tent and they serve you a special mint tea, and it's really a wonderful, welcoming,
What a
beautiful
great
experience.
experience, David. I've yet to be to
So
Israel, but go. What a way
it,
to grow up.
the Holy Land has a feeling the minute you get off the plane. You feel it in your soul. You feel it in every inch of your
That's
skin.
what
You're
my
like,
father has told me. Yeah.
wow, what is this that I'm experiencing right now? As you walk through the streets of Jerusalem, you're looking at 2,000-year-old buildings, 3,000-year-old buildings, and you walk through the beaches of Caesarea, and you're finding artifacts of pottery and gold and coins.
Oh, we lost him. Wait, we
Sorry,
lost you.
from
There you
all the
are. There you are.
places that these
It's
emperors like
history. It's
Julius
where it all
Caesar used
started.
to hang out at. Can you hear me? I think I may
Yeah,
have lost the
yeah, we
connection.
did for a moment. You're okay now. You're
I
back.
can't hear you. One moment. Whoops. What happened here?
There you are. I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
That's a mic. I lost audio. I'm gonna refresh this page and hopefully I can get back
Okay.
with you.
So I'm talking to David Levy. David Levy is obviously Jewish and has a history from his family from Egypt and Israel, and he's spent many, many years in Israel. And the reason I have David on the show today, I met David this year. We've just recently become friends. We became friends at an event that a musical friend of ours that was at an awards assembly a few months ago. We sat at the same table because our friend Sir Earl wanted us to meet, because he wanted me to meet Dave because of my interest in music. But who knew that I was going to understand more about the spiritual connection with this man and the Judaism and the movement. And, that's how things work in my world. Everything's about synchronicity and soul circles and whatever. We got David back. Let him continue his story. Go ahead.
So yeah, that's I think the beauty of Israel is that it's all there in a timeless way where the yesteryears of thousands of years are still there, and there's a certain amount of validation to the stories you hear in the Bible when you actually see it with your own eyes.
When my dad always said he knew he was in Israel when an ambulance would drive by, and instead of the Red Cross we have here, it's the Magen David. So he knew he was in Israel because he saw the Star of David. Go on.
Absolutely, but then on the flip side to all that beauty that you have in the land of Israel is, obviously we're surrounded by all our enemies. We're in a very bad neighborhood, so to speak. And I vividly remember being at the airport and being rushed behind a barricade because there was a bomb threat, or being next to a bus stop and getting rushed away because there was a bag that was suspicious. This is what it's like to live in Israel. There were suicide bombings when I was a kid at coffee shops and restaurants, and this saga really goes back quite a ways.
Right.
Now, fast forward to today, and I'm gonna use an example because I think it's somewhat correlated in some ways, not in others, but the way that it's correlated is in how this stuff spreads like wildfire. Now, how do I'm talking about is when BLM happened, and unfortunately George Floyd, the terrible stuff that happened to George Floyd, there was an outroar, but it wasn't localized to the city where it took place in. It started to rage across the United States, and then rage across the entire globe, in the form of riots, in the form of civil disobedience, et cetera, et cetera. And if you remember, I mean, you go back about 15, 20 years, to the day of what happened to Rodney King, that was mostly localized to Los Angeles.
Correct. Yep.
So I
With the
believe that's
riot.
what's happened here is social media has really kind of globalized the world. And what's a problem somewhere now becomes a problem everywhere, even though places are different and inherently people in places are different. So I think we have a problem right now in society where, we are allowing too much external energy to affect us here at home. We're in America where a lot of people have fled, persecution, religious persecution, political persecution. And, my parents always used to say, yes, Jews and Arabs, don't always get along over there, but over here we're fine. We eat falafel at the same falafel stands, and,
Yeah.
that's what it was. But nowadays, that's kind of shifted.
So
And
David,
that's a very
yes, it
scary thing.
shifted. What happened on the campuses recently, just because of October 7th, when Palestine hit Israel, getting beyond the protection or the security or whatever. And ever since October 7th, we're now in May. Look at the chaos, the destruction, the hatred, the constant growth of the anti-Semitic movement. I wear my Star of David. You wear a Star of David. I've had this Star
I
of
wear
David
I
since I
wear
was.
my father's dog tag from the Yom Kippur War. So I have a Star of David. Here, I'll try to show it to the
I
camera if
see
I
it.
can.
I remember when you asked if it was okay, and it'll bring you luck. I think it's wonderful. And you're honoring your father. My Star of David I got when I was 8 years old for my birthday in 1962, and I've never taken it off. I take it off once in a while, but I won't travel without it. I don't care if they don't like it. I don't care. When I was in second grade in Las Vegas for a while, I remember the anti-Semitism in Vegas, and my mom had to fight with the school people to put Hanukkah songs in the Christmas program. So it's not anti-Semitism is new. We've always had it in our lives. But with all your background, and yes, we can be philosophical about the internet and all that, but I want to get to what you've created with this coalition. And you are at UCLA constantly. David has become like his own journalist, filming reels up on his Instagram and on TikTok or Facebook, wherever he is. You've done an amazing job capturing some of the worst of what's going on. But because we're at UCLA locally here, talk about, and you're there now, talk about what's going on with the campus. They finally broke it
So
up, but
yeah, I'm currently at Chabad at UCLA right now, which is the temple that's on campus, just right off campus, I think, on Gailey Avenue,
mhm.
in Westwood. And I've kind of set up a command center here to help students, whether they're in dangerous situations, to get out, or um, to film interviews, to capture evidence, and to capture testimonies of what's been going on the grounds here.
They
And
wouldn't let
it's
one
so
professor pass a barricade to get to class. They wouldn't let another student pass to get to class. Not everybody's in this movement. They want to go to school. That's why they're there. What's going on?
well.
And they get pushed around, and the destruction and the trash and the anger and the fireworks. Talk about what you saw.
So I've seen a lot of hate. I was there before all that stuff happened. I think it was on Tuesday night. I was there for the protest on, I think it was Sunday. And I was counter protesting, but I didn't go as an activist. I've never really been an activist until now. So I went as a filmmaker. I went to document. I went with my camera and my microphone, and I had never been to a protest in my life. So I wanted to see what was going on the ground. I saw fighting. I saw a woman got hit in the head severely and get rushed off in an ambulance. I saw people screaming vulgar things like "kill the Jews," "gas the Jews," "death to the Jews," "death to Zionists." And I was taken back. I said, I cannot believe that this is happening, and so many people have joined this movement. So I stood there in awe. I captured as much as I could. And the very next day, I came back to UCLA to film again. And this time I was conducting interviews with people. And I had no idea that I would be approached by the Jewish Faculty Resilience Group of UCLA. But they had asked me to use the video content that I've been capturing as testimonials for Congress.
Good.
So we've now been organizing that. They've been submitted to Congress, which is why I haven't just dumped them online yet. I'm trying to protect people's identities from lashback from the
So they
community.
want in Congress to prove what the severity is to actually implement some law or something. Because I read something that it's a bill's on the
Exactly.
table now that they will
Well,
transport the activists or those that are really causing trouble to Gaza.
yeah. Well, I didn't see that. I
Yeah,
would
I
love
saw
to
it
know more
today.
about that. I think that's hilarious and it's a great idea.
Don't know if
But
it'll happen. It's a bill.
I think that I think the what it is to do with the chancellor of UCLA and his negligence, and he's being put in front of Congress to testify as to the rise in anti-Semitism here at UCLA. This is again, I'm speaking to the best of my knowledge. Everything's been happening so quick, and I'm working on so many different things that if I misspeak, forgive me.
No, you're right. But
But
let me
it
stop
is
you
to
right
do with
there because this is UCLA back in October. Now, I'm a psychic and a healer. I was supposed to be in DC on October 7th, and I have a friend in Virginia that was going to meet me there. So I'm canceling the trip. Something's going to happen. A week later, we were attacked in Israel. I had canceled the trip. And next thing you know, University of Pennsylvania, MIT, Harvard, Yale, all the chancellors and presidents are getting fired because they couldn't admit one way or another whether they were they were anti-Semitic or they were pro-Palestine. And because of what happened, a lot of people lost their jobs because they wouldn't even tell the truth. They skirted the issue. Now we see this uproar over the last few months, and it's just getting worse on almost every campus. Wisconsin, Texas, and Austin, Tennessee, New York. We've got
everywhere. It's
Columbia.
literally
You've got
everywhere.
every
It
campus
it
is getting hit.
it's in Canada, it's overseas, it's everywhere,
Where did they
and
get these pup tents? Why does everybody have the same tent, David? Who's
y-
financing this? Who's funding it? What's really going on? It's
so
not.
we've now heard that the NYPD has discovered terror manuals at these different schools like Columbia. They discovered 200-page long manuals that detailed how to rise against law enforcement, how to barricade themselves indoors, how to create incendiary devices, how to do everything that you really shouldn't be doing as a peaceful student or what they call themselves peaceful protesters. This is an infiltration of our country. This is an infiltration of our education system. And I hate to say it, but and when I say there's nefarious actors on the other side, and whether it's whoever it is, they want to brainwash our kids using our education system, they're not putting Jewish people for many years. We financed UCLA. Every building here is named after another Jewish
Every
person.
campus has Look, you've got the
And
medical students, the business
but
students, the artists. We're everywhere.
what
Without us, they're
happened
not going to
was
survive.
Qatar financed the teachers. They put the money in the hands of the professors, therefore being able to indoctrinate the kids. And now we're here, fast forward 15 years, we're here in a place where people hate Israel and people hate Jewish people because of Israel. So, you saw what happened just yesterday on the news, I hope, with regard to, you know, stopping shipments of weaponry to Israel.
Mhm.
And I think that's absolutely absurd. I think it's you don't do that to an ally. You don't do that to somebody who's fighting
We have a
terrorism.
civil war taking place as we speak. It's a civil war. Now, these kids pay for education. They're not going to class. Their parents must be rolling over. Like, what are they going to do? The other side, and I mentioned this to you on the phone a week ago or something. Before, well, no, I would say in the 90s, you were probably 10. But I remember online, which has now been censored because of what's happened since 2016, 2017. The internet's changed. You can't find what you used to because there's a boundary now. I remember seeing Iranian children, and I've mentioned this to you privately, and Rebels heard it, that were dressed in fatigues, holding machine guns with signs saying, "I hate Jews." If that was in the 80s, early 90s, those kids, you're talking about brainwashing, were brainwashed then. And that's who's here now fighting, because it's that generation that's come of age. I believe they were already, I'm getting chills. So chills is confirmation of spirit when you're telling the truth, and the universe knows that group or generation has been brainwashed and to hate us, the Jews. We've done nothing. We all bleed red blood. We know that. You're now confronting the younger people. You're taking a stance to help them. And I'm sure a lot of them are traumatized. They're scared, probably just going from one building to the next. When I saw a picture of what UCI looked like last week, I'm assuming they're cleaning it up, but it was
absolutely traumatized.
Trashed.
It's a traumatizing experience for me to be here, and I don't go to school here. And unfortunately, these kids are trapped here. A lot of them live on campus. A lot of them don't have transportation. They're college students. So that's why I find myself here most days, lending even just an ear and just a soul, somebody to listen to listen to what they're going through. It's scary. Some people don't want to come to the Chabad because they feel like this might be a target.
Exactly.
So we are conducting interviews today. We're moving out of here and we're going to a home in Bel Air, a private home. And we're going to be doing our interviews from there, with, transporting kids back and forth. I can't remember a time in the 36 years that I've been alive that's even remotely been
You're
close to
right.
where we are.
It's never been like this. It's never been, and so close to home. So it's in our backyard. It is. I mean, I'm 20 minutes to the campus. You're 25 minutes to the campus. UCLA is right in the middle of LA. It's West Los Angeles. We grew up about UCLA and the Bruins, and it's horrifying. My friend was at an event at the Skirball Center over the weekend, and she came to me to ask. She's not Jewish, but she wanted to know, should she call them out of her fear of going to this big event, which was outside at the Skirball Center. People are afraid, what if they're going to bomb? What if they're going to attack? What if, and the Skirball Center is Jewish, we know that, are funded. But, and for those that don't know, it's one of the biggest art museums in the world. But the fear is everywhere. Should we go to the market? Should we go to the theater? Should we go to the campus? Should we go to temple? Look at the kids that went through lockdown and couldn't graduate in person. Now you got all this. A lot of the campuses canceled their graduations. What? You spend 4 years in school or more to get your degree, and you can't even honor it.
Going back a little bit towards, like, where I come from in my history, I've been in the music business. I've been in the film business, working with clients like Robert De Niro, Charlize Theron, in music like Britney Spears and Lady Gaga. And I haven't hardly worked a day since October 7th. I only trust that a couple of clients are pro-Israel. So, being that my studio and the facilities on my property where I live, I don't want to invite the adversaries into my home. I feel insecure about it. I've had threats made to me. I've had
Yep.
vandalism done to my vehicle before,
Yes.
um, twice now, actually. So the hate is out there. They're often very cowardly, but then you get, the occasional stupid person who will do something like hit someone in the head and kill them, like what happened to the person in Westlake in the beginning of this whole thing. But that said, I started the Chosen Coalition a couple months after October 7th. I think it was in December, like around December 7th. And the goal was to combat anti-Semitism and to try to get people to speak out, mainly celebrities. And I've been surprised with how many people have actually been silent. And our mission is kind of.
The fear again. They don't want to get involved.
Mhm.
They stay hidden. They stay reclusive. They don't want to get involved.
Exactly.
Fear
So
of getting stabbed or killed.
so we've kind of shifted a little bit. We got more involved in helping the kids themselves. We got more involved in creating a general message. I just started a campaign that I really want to talk to everybody about. It's called Peace. And it's today we have a big problem. I should preface it with this, is that there's a lack of conversation today, whether it's about politics, whether it's about religion. People get angry very quickly. They decide not to talk to each other. And healthy debate is crucial. And having different opinions is what America was built on. Thou shalt love thy neighbor no matter what thy opinion is, right? It's treat each other like you want to be treated. This is first grade stuff. So I created peace, which stands for promoting equality and compassionate engagement. And that's going to be something that everyone, I hope, is going to be seeing on the streets moving forward. We're going to get artists involved and rekindle the 1969 Summer of Love energy, and try to bring people together and show the world out, because you're right, we're on the brink of a civil war. And if people don't
No,
wake
it's
up,
not a brink, David. We're in it. It's already a
if
civil war. We were nationwide with all this trauma and fighting and the protests. It's already a civil war. We just don't have the bombs. We don't have the gunfire. We don't have, but look what the signs going up, or like you even said, kill the Jews, burn the Jews. I mean, gas the Jews. It's all over again. And it's like, for what? For what? But this anger, and no, it's already a war. This is the civil war. It's a
everybody
spiritual war.
listening should go check out on Instagram fight.4peace, the number 4peace. It's going to be a great account with a lot of really awesome and inspiring content. We need to counter all the hate that's out there, and counter all these movements that have been built upon people's discontent in their lives and upon bad energy, and bring people back to love.
And love, which I've taught as a metaphysician all these years, when you break down the word love, Love, life openly and vigorously expressed, and ill, I lack love. You can use this because there's this thing. If we're really open about who we are as human beings and how we feel about things, you're living vigorously in expressing truth. And if you're ill, which causes a lot of dis-ease within the body, which is where I come in to help people unlock that illness by releasing emotions. So there's all these people with pent up anger. Half of them don't even know what they're fighting for, but they were brainwashed or told by their parents or their schools what to believe as they were evolving, like I saw as those children. They don't even know half of it, but they're still ill inside with all this anger and hatred. But
When
remember, the light always wins and beats the dark. Even though it's dark right now, we're still going to come ahead. You'll see. People don't think
I
so. We will.
I infiltrated the encampment at UCLA underground, like undercover, I should say. And when I was inside the encampment, what I heard people talking about was being a single mother, not having money to pay their bills, the fact that there's, it's so hard to get a good paying job in this country. And they're using, people's discontent and their bitterness about their daily lives to join this thing. And most of them have no idea about the Gaza or sorry, Palestine Israel conflict. And,
So what you're saying is that they're using this as a launching pad for their own problems on a personal level in their living situation
I think
versus
it's
what
the other
actually
way
instigated
around.
all of it. Yeah, it's not about the worldwide event. It's really what's wrong with me and my world. That's another
Absolutely. It's a
issue.
bunch of very, very depressed people who, look, we just came out of COVID. We aren't in the best financial times in this country. It's hard for a lot of people, and I get it. Like, I really, trust me, I get it. Like, I'm here wearing a nice suit, but trust me, I'm struggling. So it's
Drug
but
abuse
you
is up.
can't you can't
Domestic
let
violence is
yourself
up.
you can't let yourself be brainwashed and infiltrated, and you have to maintain the core values that are right from when you were raised as a kid. And I think a lot of that really is built around respect and treating your neighbor like you want to be treated. I mean, it's the 10 commandments, and this isn't just a Jewish thing. This is a
No, it's
human thing.
everybody, of course.
It's a
Of
human,
course.
it's humankind.
And
So
the show I
that's
did yesterday was on balance and harmony. And again, it's about bringing balance within ourselves and the community. And then it goes out internationally. It's got to start within. And we all have to, we all struggle. Not everybody has a golden spoon. Even the celebrities you've talked about, you think just because they're famous and they got tons of money that their lives are perfect. They have even more problems, not just because the public identification, but
often
they have
home.
divorces, they have death, they have illness, they have autistic kids, they have bills, they have people wanting things, they get screwed. Everybody puts people on a pedestal thinking they got it together. Nobody really has it together. We're all human. But why do we have to have extra fights and extra hatred? And this is what the show is about today, people, and what I talk about for 30 years. Peace. I'm still the old hippie that's about the peace and the love, like
work
the Lennon's.
together work together with the people you don't agree with. Come up with common ground. Don't
Balance and
fight.
communicate and compromise.
Agreed. I
It's
think we
so
live here on
painful.
this planet for such a finite time, and you have to imagine, well, this little tiny flick of a spark that we're here for. What are you going to make out of it? Are you going to put hatred out there, or are you just going to be a source of light and love?
Exactly. And I'm thinking, okay, here are these kids, the students can be 18 to 25 on average, right? On
Hmm.
average, depending if they're on a grad program or PhD, they might be older, but the average undergrads, 18 to 25, 10, 20, 30 years from now, they're going to look back and go, oh, I did that. I wish I hadn't. Or why did we do that? Or that was stupid because I remember college 50 years ago and we stood for one thing, but as you mature, ideas change. Not all, but there's a lot of hatred going on that I pray to God they just eliminate it from their soul and see once they let go of it against whoever they're hating, where they think they're fighting, they're going to find more peace within themselves and then put it back out there. And that's what you're standing for. David Levy, he's got two coalitions or two projects going, people. One is the Chosen Coalition, you find it on Instagram, and then the other one is the newer one on peace, Fight for Peace. And once this starts getting out there, please go check out and sign up, or what's it called? Friend. I don't even know all the terms yet, on all the platforms, but
Follow us.
follow. Thank you. Because this one you sign up and this one you follow and this one you friend and the other you subscribe, but all of them are there for everybody. But the bottom line is peace. The bottom line message is get along with yourself, your family, and then the world, as opposed to fighting the world. But right now it's taken over. Yes, there are campuses, riots, the fires, the slogans are disgusting. To burn the Jew, kill the Jew, gas the Jew. We went through this. We've been through it. And there's people who survived the Holocaust that are being interviewed again, thinking, not again. And it is now. This is our now. Not again is now again. I don't think we're going to see camps. I don't think it's going to get as bad as the annihilation and extinction, but there's a different feel an energy, and you can feel the negative. You can
I'm
feel the hatred.
afraid that we're gonna have pogroms where people are gonna attack Jewish businesses. It's already been happening. I saw in the news yesterday in Greece they were ransacking hotels looking for Jews. So, if you're a Jewish person and you're traveling abroad, you have to be aware of these things.
A friend of
It's
mine in
scary.
Spain said the same thing. It's in Spain. He saw it in Ireland. He's seeing it in France. He said the same thing. He's a private investigator. He's all over the world. And he told
Wow.
me, and he deals with royalty and I mean, huge, huge accounts of people, huge. But he told me from the ground what's going on all over Europe. It's infecting the world. This is one planet. No, it's not a peaceful planet. It's a warrior planet, but we can calm it down. Like David and I were talking yesterday. Are we fighting to find peace? Are we fighting for peace? There's ways to look at what to do. Everybody has a responsibility, but you're right, David. A lot of people don't want to get involved. It's like someone witnesses a car accident or a stabbing. They don't want to get involved as a witness.
Well, I think it's time we all become good Samaritans and fight for what's right, And I don't say fight in the literal sense. I mean stand up and
No,
use your voice. This
exactly.
is what fight for peace is. It's use your voice and be compassionate and understanding and try to understand where the other side is coming from and approach every situation with your open heart.
I didn't know if somebody was commenting, wanted to add. I just heard something in the background. But you're right.
No,
And
I got a few rabbis in here today with
oh,
me, so
okay. Okay. Well, say hi. I should come down. I'd love to come to the Chabad one day and work with you and see what you're really doing. And then we could even
would
do
love to
another
have
video.
you.
Yeah, I would love to, because when I worked at Cal State Northridge back in 88 or 89, I was the health educator on the campus to help with drug abuse and AIDS and all that back then. But I remember being heavily involved with the Chabad and helping the rabbis and the Jewish students then understand drug abuse, which was most prominent in the athletic fields, believe it or not. But there's a unity, and people don't understand the community of Judaism. We bond together. You can go anywhere in the world. There's a Chabad. Anywhere in the world, you see a Star of David, a Mug and David, and people you immediately connect because you just know. And I think it's in every culture, whether they're thugs, the thugs gravitate. If you're a Jew, the Jews gravitate. If whatever, it's not even about religion. I don't like to have titles and signs of who and what we are, because we're all one. We're all one. We are one human being on the planet. However you get to God is your way. There's not the Christian God and the Jewish God and the Hindu God. There's one out there. It's just how you get there. I don't believe in religion as much anymore because it's man-made. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. If you want to believe, you will find how the synchronicity works. Why was I sat next to David at a table? Because my friend said, I want you to meet because of your music. Okay. Well, I didn't know by talking to David, there'd be health issues. We talked about the coalition and the anti-Semitism. We haven't even gotten to the music. And it's not about that. I now know this man on a human level. And that's what it's all about, people. And you hear me talking about it all the time. This is something I have a passion for because I am a Jew. I grew up with anti-Semitism. I lost family members. God knows the kind of family I would have had, as opposed to like 5 people, because everybody was killed in the camps. So my history repeats as David's history repeats from our parents and grandparents' experiences. To know that your grandmother was shot 18 times. How long did she live after all that, David?
She passed away at the age, I believe, of 72, just like my mom did. My mom always said she's going to die at the same age her mother did, and she did.
Oh, I just got chills.
Yeah, she did. She knew. She was also very clairvoyant. She could see things, and we can get into that another time.
Well, another time I'll do a psychic show,
Yeah.
or the music show, whatever. We got plenty, but this is what's hot right now, and this is what's got me wound up. And I know it's winding you up because we've been talking for the last few weeks. It's a passion. It's an aggressiveness. It's a dedication. It's a drive, and not everybody, like you said, wants to participate because they're afraid. I get afraid, but I still go out there. I'll be on a plane. I'll be in New York, and even though New York's under fire, I'll be in a place. I'll just walk through and get to my convention. I show up. You show up. A lot of people are chicken, but if we don't, even if it's a small nucleus of us that do, those are the ones that will eventually make a dent. You're making a dent with the chosen coalition. You're making a dent with Fight for Peace. This is David Levy, who's joined us. I'm going to let him go because he's got another interview coming up, as you know, at someone's home. And eventually I want to see that. So, David, I'm going to close. Rebel, let's close the show out a little early, and it'll give you more time. I'm going to wrap up. David, stay in the green room. And for your final word, with all that's going on, besides the passion, but the anger and you want to shake people, like, wake up.
The Beatles said, come together, right? So I think it's about time.
We all come together. And John always said, there's nothing you can say that hasn't been said. We're just repeating it again. That what we get to do is this generation, and especially David's generation, and even the kids beneath David's age, which are younger, stop all this crap. It's not necessary to hate. Got enough to deal with. Yes, children, bills, food, transportation, energy, education. I mean, enough. What are we fighting
if you want to
for?
hate something, hate cancer, hate something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that we all deal with as a problem, as a human culture, that for us to hate each other is,
it's not the solution.
Guys, it's 2024. Grow up and learn from history already.
Thank you, David Levy. I'm Dr. Linda Salvin. I want to say thank you for joining us. And Rebel, let's take it out. I'm Dr. Linda Salvin. This is Psychic Solutions Podcast. Today was a little different because there's such an anti-Semitic movement going on again, and it makes me pissed. I'm Jewish. I grew up listening to this. I heard my grandmother's problems. I heard how she escaped when all her brothers and sisters and parents were killed in the camps. I've gone to the museums. I can't even stomach looking at all the Holocaust pictures. No, people, it's not made up. No, it wasn't a movie. It is real. And there's so much denial about the Holocaust. That's another statement in a show we can talk about. It is real. When I was at some of the museums, I looked to think, my gosh, some of those people must have been my relatives. Who knew? But for today, find peace in yourself, find the balance within yourself, find your God. And if you know somebody who's anti-Semitic, please stop. We did nothing any more than you have. We're all in this together. It is the planet Earth, and we're all human. Let's stop this chaos and get back to what is necessary, just survival and having a good time. I'll be back next week. This is Dr. Linda Salvin. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Dr. Linda Salvin's Psychic Solutions Podcast. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.